My name is Luco. I was born in Kwadakuza when it was still called Stanger and only our people paid any attention to its history. As a young girl, I went to Ashram Primary School, and then, with help from family, I spent my high school years at Durban Girls College. High school led to a scholarship. The scholarship took me to university, and university gave me a career. As a child, I dreamed of going to the places we saw on TV. Places my friends at high school could imagine visiting, but not a township girl from the north coast of KwaZulu-Natal. At first, I didn't even know I had the talents that led me into finance, and then took me to Shanghai, Dubai, and London. I have been blessed with success and opportunity, and enjoyed everything the world has to offer. I have come a long, long way from the little town of Kwadakuza, but in my heart, I am a Zulu. It is nearly 200 years since King Shaka moved his household and his people to a new Zulu capital at Dakuza, only for it to be burned to the ground just a few years later after his half-brothers assassinated him. Since then, there has been mission stations and trading posts and wars and defeats, and Port Natal became Durban. Durban has always been South Africa's summer holiday town, even since my parents were children, and it had a character all of its own. The warm weather all year round and the big Indian community made it a hot, spicy, heady melting pot unlike anywhere else in the country. But they grew up in a different time, and Durban has changed a lot since then. I'm a little too young to remember much about the elections in '94, but I know my parents were very excited. Nelson Mandela cast his vote here in Durban, but Cape Town and Johannesburg leapt into the limelight in the early days of what we called the new South Africa. In the meantime, Durban was quietly changing its image and leveraging what made it different into ties with India and the Middle East. In 2010, the World Cup shone a spotlight on the city, and its stadium captured the imagination. And then I left, and it has rarely been in the last few years since then that Durban has transformed into an international city. In 2022, Durban will host the Commonwealth Games, and I can understand why. It is the fastest growing city in Africa and number one on the continent for quality of living. It has seen more residents become dollar millionaires since 2000 than Cape Town or Johannesburg. And CNN named it coolest city in South Africa as one of the top 10 most underrated cities worldwide. Miles and miles of subtropical paradise surround Africa's biggest harbour, where winter never comes. Coming home from school in Durban every afternoon, the bus would pass Mhlanga in the north, the playground of the province's millionaires. This was a sleepy seaside village when my parents were young, but I knew it as a hotspot of hotels, restaurants, and luxury apartments. The locals still call it the village, but when it was discovered by the rich and famous nearly 40 years ago, it sparked a property boom that has never really stopped. Even today, luxury new developments are selling out within hours for hundreds of millions. The whole North Coast came alive at the turn of the century when they announced that King Shaka International Airport was coming to La Mercy. Suddenly, country living and holiday towns were within reach of a major transport hub, and residential estates and country clubs sprang up all along the coast around Blythedale. It is through that airport that I have come home, that stands where once there was only sugarcane. I am coming home to own a view of the beach, where once we played as children, I am coming home to claim a piece of my heritage here at Blythedale Coastal Resort. Blythedale will have everything we dreamed of as kids. In a place as familiar to me as the faces of my family. There will be schools for my own children who will learn to ride a horse in the forests and fields. They will learn to play football on a pristine pitch instead of a dusty street as my brothers did. And there will be hotels and shops and restaurants to rival those where I spent my years in exile. It is a brand new city, built in the paradise I have always called home. A few years ago, my people laid a claim for their rights to this land. The Dube community are the ancestors of the Zulu people who lived here at the coast many years ago. Relocated as the sugarcane spread across the region, we have a deep connection to this land. And when it was returned to us, Ilan Property Group had the vision to create an innovative project. The first major development in which the local community are included as landowners, not just as employees. The announcement made the front page and was attended by cabinet ministers and officials. Their enthusiasm was beautiful to see, and some of these same prominent people will be my neighbors. The claim has been settled, the plans are in place. The future of my family here at Blythedale stretches ahead before us. And now we're beginning to build.